Hey, Prince Bosco here with another video, and today I'm be doing a list of the top 10 Mario Kart tracks in Super Mario Kart. Now, Super Mario Kart is not a very complicated game, and it's aged a decent amount, but I can't really blame the game for that. I mean, it is over 25 years old after all. But, compared to the more livelier Mario Karts, well, the 3D ones, its age certainly shows. But don't let the flat walls and questionable roster fool you. Super Mario Kart is a classic in every definition of the word, and it's still fun to pick up and play to this day. And with that, Super Mario Kart does have some bangers. While a lot of them are accompanied by numbers and don't seem that distinct, there's definitely some good ones to go back and play today. So why not look and see which ones are the best. In number 10, we have Choco Island 2, and this is an example of a track that stands out. And that's because of the mud. Let me explain. So the track starts off with a slim straightaway that makes off-road a serious consideration, but eventually the track makes that choice for you, and opens up into a giant mud puddle with very little clean road to drive on. This makes items like the Mushroom and Star very valuable and adds to a fun item game that revolves around overcoming the lack of optimal road. There's also piranha plants, but they don't really get in the way. I mean, I guess they can make the turning a little riskier. But with this island of Choco, you're gonna have to play dirty. In number 9, we have Koopa Beach 2, which happens to be the second beach with that name. While Koopa Beach 1 does play with the theme more, Koopa Beach 2 is a more fun track design. The water isn't so annoying and plays well with the sand on the shore. Staying closer to the island gives a better advantage and rewards players who hug the corners, which is great because that is not easy to do in Super Mario Kart. The main water area is a fun, chaotic mess, with carts going all over the place to try to dodge the deep ends and cheap jeeps, creating a minor but notable interference. This track may just be about as simple as any of the others, but the water mechanics makes it, a little distinct and a worthwhile experience. In number 8, we have Donut Plains 3. I love the Donut Plains levels, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the look, or, well, I guess there isn't really anything else this distinctive about tracks in this game. Regardless, Donut Plains 3 is a pretty complicated track for Super Mario Kart. There are multiple bridges, deep water, multi-moles, harsh turns, and very little wiggle room for error. This makes Donut Plains 3 one of the hardest tracks in Super Mario Kart. And this can make it quite frustrating, especially when things get a little crowded, but that can't completely distract from just how creative and fun this track actually is. It wants to test you, and it's so satisfying to get those drifts right past those multi-moles, to get right over the bridge without taking a dip, and to boost right through those windy turns. This track is very memorable, and despite how unfair it can be, there is nothing plain about these planes. In number 7, we have Donut Plains 1, and yes, another Donut Plains. This one may seem simple at first, but that's because it is. But that's not a bad thing, no, not at all. This track is actually an excellent beginner track. It may only be the second track in the Mushroom Cup, but establishes the challenges ahead really early on. The track has a good mix of wide and narrow parts with some decently challenging turns. It is one of those tracks that is fun to master, and it has some great item play with enough straightaways and curves to really think about how you're going to use your item strategically, and there's even a gap in the wall where you can use a mushroom for a boost and a quick shortcut. It blends a decent amount of challenge with easygoing simplicity in a great way. In number 6, we have Mario Circuit 3, which is a very strong track. Mario Circuit 3 makes it feel so satisfying to go fast and keep up the speed. Every turn feels a little bit different, with the wider ones mixing with the more narrow ones, perfectly making drifting feel awesome. This track is also fairly long for Super Mario Kart standards, which makes it a quite substantial track. And while its aesthetic may make it melt together with the other Mario circuits, it's always fun to land on. Now we are in the top 5, and Bowser Castle 1 starts us off. You may be starting to see a theme with the kind of tracks I like. I like the ones that are fun to master but are still fairly simple. And that's mainly because Super Mario Kart has some clunky mechanics. It isn't as refined as future ones. Bowser Castle 1 manages to remain spacious while also being claustrophobic, with long hallways filled with leaps over lava and thwomps, mixed with constricting and strict turns that demand your attention. There isn't much else to say about this one. It manages to keep things challenging while not being frustrating, which is not something that all Super Mario Kart tracks can say. With number 4, we have Ghost Valley 1. And for the most part, Ghost Valley tracks tend to lean more into the annoying category for me. In my opinion, of course. With sharp turns and holes everywhere, it can make you want to join the ghosts flying around when you get bonked off by Bowser for the millionth time. But Ghost Valley 1 doesn't have those problems. It keeps things light. Well, not literally. I mean, I just love the aesthetic of the Ghost Valley tracks. It really makes you feel like you went right into a ghost house from Super Mario World. And can't forget about the most interesting shortcut in the game, requiring a cape feather to properly utilize. The 5-lap system actually helps you with this, giving you more chances to be able to get the cape feather to properly utilize the shortcut. All around, the track promises a spectacular time. At number 3, we have Bowser Castle 3. And oh man, this one is a beast. I mean, just look at it! Yes, I keep glorifying more simple tracks, but I can't deny how much fun the chaos can be in this one. Not only does it have more aggressively placed thwomps and lava jumps, but also little indents in the turns that will really get you. With 7 other racers, this track becomes a chaotic mess, and it is honestly very thrilling. The best part has got to be when the track practically disappears and you're just left jumping from platform to platform trying to beat other opponents across. This track makes for a crazy thrill ride and certainly leaves an impression. And at number 2, we have Mario Circuit 2, and this one kind of just encapsulates everything I value in a Super Mario Kart track. It keeps things simple enough where the dated controls don't really get in the way, but it's just challenging enough to keep it fun and interesting. Mario Circuit 2 balances these things very well, and never does anything that should frustrate a seasoned player. The turns in this track are quite lenient, but remain windy enough to make it satisfying to get those drifts just right to pass those players ahead of you. The most notable thing about this course is the jump. It's a simple little addition and it doesn't give much strategic importance. Like, I've never been able to screw anyone over on it, and I've never been screwed over on it. It gives a bit more of a distinct flair to the course, and design-wise allows Mario Circuit 2 to have a very nice flow where it can turn onto itself. Overall, this course does a good job at balancing the challenge and fun, and well, that just makes it one of the best tracks in Super Mario Kart, but not better than the next one. Could it be any other track? Rainbow Road in Super Mario Kart is an absolute legend of a track, and it's no wonder why it's been remade 3 times already. This track may look easy at a glance, but it is surprisingly brutal, especially if you're playing with some dirty racers. Every turn is extremely sharp and not at all forgiving, with nothing between you and the endless void below. The powered-up thwomps also provide a harsh challenge and give you another thing to think about on top of trying not to fall to your doom. It may be a simple floating track, but it is quite difficult, yet super fun to master, and I always love coming back to it. It is such a treat to play on, even if it can be a little frustrating at times. This track has left a legacy that Mario Kart still carries on to this day, and how fitting that the only track in Super Mario Kart without a number is the best one. It's the most memorable and the most original, and that's why Rainbow Road has got to be my number 1. And those were my top 10 Mario Kart tracks in Super Mario Kart. Yep, that's the way it is. I did play Super Mario Kart a decent amount as a kid. I never really got into it the same way I got into other Mario Karts, but that doesn't mean this one isn't good. Super Mario Kart is still a classic, like I said before. And the tracks, there are still some golden ones in there. Now, the next one I'm going to be doing for my top 10 Mario Kart track series is Mario Kart 64, because I'm going through release order. And I have a lot of personal history with Mario Kart 64, so we'll see how that goes. But before we move on, what do you guys think? Like, what are your top 10 Super Mario Kart tracks? Am I wrong? Did I make a good list? Or am I just an idiot who sucks at the game? Honestly, I wouldn't be very surprised. I am not particularly great at Super Mario Kart, at least not compared to other Mario Karts. But I do think that the tracks that I listed, a lot of them are pretty good. I honestly like a lot of them, and while they're probably going to move around a lot since they're not terribly distinct, and a lot of them are pretty close. So this list, in my head, and what it is for me, will probably move around a little bit. But anyways, guys, I think that'll be about it for this video. So, you know the drill. See ya, and stay awesome.